Hello. There's a lovely story about an angel in Luke chapter 1, and it concerns Zachariah, who was a priest, and he was in the temple with his priestly duties, and an angel appears to him and tells him something extraordinary, that his wife Elizabeth is going to give birth to a son, and they were to name him John, and he was going to do wonderful things and be a forerunner of the Messiah. A lovely prophecy. However, Zachariah says to the angel, "Oh, how shall I know this? I'm an old man and my wife is advanced in years." So he didn't believe it was possible. He had forgotten that Sarah, Abraham's wife, had given birth to a son in very old age. The angel gets affronted, and rightly so, and so he says to Zachariah, "I'm Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God. I was sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news." And Zachariah was pouring cold water on it all. Now it's interesting this, because it seems that Gabriel had the authority to deal with this situation in any way he saw fit. So he immediately says to Zachariah, he said, "Behold, you will be silent and unable to speak until the day that these things take place, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled in their time." So the lesson for us then is, if angels say extraordinary things, let's believe what they say. For instance, in Revelation there are very many extraordinary things, and it was an angel that gave it to John. Now, apart from that, we know that angels will help us out. As it says in the Psalms, if we pray to God for help, he will send the angels to care for us, to put things right, to help pick up the pieces, and so on. But the question is, do we have one particular guardian angel? Now, some have thought that we do, and it's because of a verse in Matthew chapter 18. Now, the context is, the disciples said to Jesus, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" A perennial theme with the disciples, and one that we need to take notice of ourselves, obviously. And Jesus says to him, "Look, you need to be like children." He said, "If you do not become humble, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." And then he goes on to talk about people who are humble, those who are poor, maybe sick, disabled, in difficult circumstances in life, quiet ones. And he says in verse 10, "See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven." I'm hoping that we are those humble, poor people, and that we have angels that see God, and that they will complain to God if anybody looks down on us. So it says, "They're angels." Now, I looked this up in the commentaries, and it seems that the consensus of opinion is that we don't have one particular angel that looks after us particularly. The reason being that these angels see the face of God in heaven, so they will report. And Gabriel not only appeared to Zachariah, but he also appeared to Mary, so they didn't each have their own particular angels. However, having said that, if we pray for help, we will most certainly get it. And there's a lovely little verse in Hebrews chapter 1, where it says that angels, which are winds and flames of fire, as it says in verse 7, but in verse 14, are they not, that's the angels, all ministering spirits sent out to serve for the sake of those who are to inherit salvation. And in chapter 13 and verse 2, Paul says, "Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware." You never know. Abraham entertained 3 angels. So did the parents of Samson. Well, they entertained 1 angel. So with those lovely thoughts in mind, I'll put the references to what the angels will do for us in the Psalms below, and a reference to the commentaries. So be assured you're being looked after by these angels who are sent by God to help us out. Thank you for watching, and do take care. God bless.